13 August 1972. Inside a heavily guarded prisoner of war camp in Rawalpindi, Pakistan, that night was destined to become history. This was the same camp where, after the 1971 Indo-Pak War, 12 Indian Air Force pilots were being held captive. Security was so tight that no one could even imagine someone escaping alive. Towering walls surrounded the camp. Barbed wires crowned the walls. Armed Pakistani soldiers were everywhere. Yet inside this impossible fortress were 3 Indian pilots, men whose resolve feared neither walls nor wires nor guns. They escaped in a manner that shocked the Pakistani authorities. This story begins on December 3, 1971, when a full-scale war between India and Pakistan was underway. On the ground, the Indian Army was pushing Pakistan back on every front. But in the skies, the situation was far more dangerous. Near Pakistan's Zafarwal city stood a tall watchtower that had become a major threat to the Indian Air Force. From this tower, Pakistani forces tracked Indian troop movements and repeatedly fired with deadly accuracy at Indian aircraft. Destroying this watchtower became a mission of utmost importance. The responsibility was given to Indian Air Force pilot Dilip Parulkar. Parulkar was known for his courage, discipline, and iron will. He knew the mission would not be easy, but for his country, the risk had to be taken. On December 10, 1971, Dilip Parulkar took off in his Sukhoi fighter jet for the mission. As he approached the target, Pakistani anti-aircraft guns opened intense fire. Bullets tore through the sky, straight toward his aircraft. Within moments, his jet was severely damaged. Seeing the situation worsen, Parulkar ejected immediately. His life was saved, but fate dropped him deep inside enemy territory. Parulkar was already injured when he landed. As he struggled to regain control, local Pakistani civilians began gathering around him. The crowd shouted, "Enemy! Enemy!" Within seconds, they attacked him. They beat him brutally, snatched away his belongings. Wounded, exhausted, and battered, Parulkar lost consciousness. A few minutes more, and the mob would have killed him. Just then, Pakistani soldiers arrived. They dispersed the crowd and said, "He is more useful to us alive." Thus, Dilip Parulkar was pulled back from the jaws of death and taken into custody. When Parulkar regained consciousness, he found himself locked inside a dark, narrow, damp cell. A Pakistani officer stood before him. The officer handed him paper and pencil and said, "Draw the map of Adampur Air Base." Adampur was one of the Indian Air Force's most critical bases. Parulkar refused immediately. What followed was a brutal cycle of torture. Finally, under extreme pressure, Parulkar drew a map. The officer was delighted, but returned shortly after, furious. Parulkar had drawn the map of Mumbai airport, not Adampur. Enraged, the officer pronounced punishment. Parulkar would stand in one corner of the cell all night. A guard was ordered, "If he sits, shoot him." All night, Parulkar stood. His body screamed in pain. But the guard took pity. Softly, he whispered, "Sit till morning. If anyone comes, I'll alert you." Many such nights followed. Relentless torture continued. But Parulkar revealed nothing. Eventually, even the Pakistani officers grew tired. After several days, he was transferred to the main camp with other Indian prisoners. This was the Rawalpindi POW camp, where 12 Indian Air Force pilots were held. Here, Parulkar learned that others had endured the same torture. Everyone had suffered, but no one's spirit had broken. The camp was under the charge of Usman Hamid, He treated the Indian pilots with dignity, something many Pakistani officers deeply resented. Usman Hamid provided them with a cassette player and an atlas. He had no idea that this small kindness would one day shape a historic escape. On 25th December 1971, news reached the camp. Pakistan had surrendered in Dhaka. India had won the war. 93,000 Pakistani soldiers were now prisoners of India. Joy swept through the camp. Everyone believed they would soon return home. But Parulkar felt otherwise. He knew prisoner exchanges could take years. He told his comrades, if we wait, it may take forever. Why not escape ourselves? No one supported him at first, but Parulkar never gave up. A seed had been planted, the seed of freedom. And over the coming months, it would grow into a plan powerful enough to shake Rawalpindi's walls. After December 25th, an eerie silence hung over the camp. The war outside was over. But for these 12 pilots, the fight continued. Days passed. Weeks turned into months. No concrete news arrived. Parulkar realized negotiations could drag on endlessly. Waiting was not freedom. Freedom meant escape. Initially, he planned to overpower a guard during a night toilet escort. But the risk was too high. The plan was abandoned. Months passed. Morale dipped. Parulkar approached his comrades again. This time, two men stepped forward, MS Gruel and Harish Singh. The three decided, if fate gives us a chance, we will take it. The real planning began. They studied the atlas night after night. Going directly to the Indo-Pak border was impossible. Security was extreme, so they chose another route. Afghanistan first, India later. Next was selecting the right cell. They needed one close to the outer wall with minimal guard movement. After careful observation, they chose cell number 4. Getting transferred there wasn't easy, but Parulkar's respectful behavior had earned trust. Using this goodwill, Parulkar, Gruel, and Harish Singh were moved to cell number 4. Another Indian pilot, Vidyadhar Shankar Chatti, was already inside. He chose not to escape, but agreed to help. His role would become crucial. The biggest challenge, digging a tunnel. The wall was 18 inches thick, no tools, almost impossible. Luck favored them again. They managed to steal a pair of scissors and a screwdriver. Every night from 12 to 1 a.m., one man dug while the others stood guard. Dust and cement were hidden under the bed. They even blew the cell's bulb fuse so guards couldn't see clearly. Replacing bulbs took time. Time they used well. One night, danger came close. A guard peeked inside and thought only 3 pilots were present. Harish Singh was under the bed. The guard shouted. All 3 pretended to sleep. The guard ran to fetch Usman Hamid. In seconds, Singh slipped out and lay down. When Usman Hamid arrived and saw 4 pilots, he scolded the guard instead. Weeks turned into months. Cement was removed carefully. Bricks were replaced perfectly. From outside, nothing looked disturbed. They began preparing for life after escape. Each prisoner received 57 rupees per month. They saved it. Bought dry fruits, condensed milk, essentials. They needed a compass. Using the cassette player magnet and a sewing needle, they built a makeshift compass. With money, they had Pakistani suits stitched to blend in as locals. Finally, the hole was large enough. Only the plaster layer was left. Saved for the escape night, 13th August 1972. Dark clouds covered Rawalpindi. Strong winds blew, then torrential rain. This was the night. They wore their Pakistani suits, packed food, compass, and money. They hugged Vidyadhar Chati. Parulkar gently broke the final plaster layer. Rain masked the sound. One by one, they crawled out. A Pakistani guard slept nearby on a cot. They ran, tied clothes into a rope, hooked it over barbed wire. Parulkar first, then Gruwal, then Harish Singh. They were free. But the real battle had begun. They reached a bus stand. A bus to Peshawar awaited them. After an overnight journey, they arrived at 6 a.m. The biggest danger was identity. They posed as Christians. From Peshawar, another bus took them to Landi Kotal by 9:30 a.m. At 11 a.m., Rawalpindi camp erupted in chaos. The escape was discovered. Guards panicked. They nearly shot Vidyadhar Chati, but senior officers intervened. He was spared. Meanwhile, the three pilots faced another hurdle. The Torkham border was just 5 kilometers away, but they were lost. Their atlas showed Landikana railway station. Unknowingly, the map was outdated. The station had shut down in 1932. At a tea stall, they asked for directions. Suspicion rose. A man interrogated them. Parulkar claimed they were Pakistani Air Force officers. The man was a Tehsildar's clerk. He doubted them. They were detained. In desperation, Parulkar mentioned Usman Hamid. That was the fatal mistake. A call was made. Usman Hamid recognized them immediately. They were recaptured. They received 30 days solitary confinement, later moved to Faisal jail. In December 1972, President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto announced the release of all Indian POWs at Wagah border. A sea of humanity awaited them. Tears, pride, tricolors. This was not just an escape story, it was a story of unbreakable courage, of freedom that lives even behind bars. And perhaps, the walls of Rawalpindi still remember how 3 Indian pilots outwitted them. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. We bring such stories every week. Until then, Jai Hind.